welcome to the FloTrack podcast presented by Wonderful Pistachios. I'm Livek Pone, joined with Ashley Tishins and Corey Mall. As you can notice, we're not here in our normal studio because we're here at the University of Oregon outside of Hayward Field for the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. We're going to be here over the next 4 days, full of excitement. We're going to see athletes be crowned. Team titles are about to be announced. We're just trying to claim NCAA titles. So, Ashley, are you pumped as much as I am? Because I'm looking forward to this meet.
You know I am. I love Eugene. This is our multiple time being out here in Eugene. It was in Austin last year. The championships returns back to Eugene at New Hayward. So I think we're going to see some really exciting stuff.
Yeah. And then, Corey, for you, what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, you won't be able to see it, I think, in this video, but there are track and field athletes everywhere around Eugene. I just saw Parker Balby doing a shakeout right here around Hayward Field, but that's what you're going to experience here in 4 days in Eugene, and I think the weather's going to be a stark change from last year in Austin. Humid, super hot. Next 4 days, 79, 81, 85, 80. Perfect weather here for track and field in Eugene.
Yeah, that sounds like the optimal weather as we look forward to these outdoor championships. So what exactly are we going to do? We're going to break down each discipline, and we're just going to look over the top athletes that you need to make sure you keep your eyes out for. So come join us, and we'll chat more. We are right outside Hayward Field, just where the 200 meters would begin, but we're going to start off with the field events first. Let's start off with the home crowd favorite, Jada Ross. We had a chance to hear her at the press conference. She's actually from Oregon, and she was saying how she has so much family coming in, which I think is super spectacular. So what can we see from Jada Ross, Ashley?
You know, Jada Ross earlier this year, she broke the NCAA record in the shot put, in the women's shot put twice. She went over 20 meters, and so that's the new record, 20.01. I believe she's one of the top 10 American women of all time in the event. And so, as you mentioned, we had a chance to speak with her in the press conference, and she is ready to go. You know, she said she has her lucky shots ready to go, and she's from Oregon. She said she's gonna, I think, have 15 people here for the shot put, and then 19 on the day she throws the discus. So I think really, I'm just curious to see A, whether she can break her own collegiate record on home soil, and then B, could she win both the shot and the discus?
Yeah, I think that's a great storyline, just looking into that. And then Corey, for you, what do you think we can see from Jada over the weekend?
So from North Bedford, by the way, high school, so representing there. And in the press conference, she also said she's going to have an army behind her. You said 18 and 19 on 2 different days. They're going to have air mattresses set up in her apartments just to get people places to sleep. So that's a really great story. You know, you got to look at her competitor, Maya Lesnar, who won the indoor title. She finished second at regionals behind Jada. Jada was second behind her at indoors. So, I mean, that is the matchup that I'm watching here, because it isn't a foregone conclusion. We still have a matchup here, and they do have to throw their best attempts in the circle there. So what will happen? That's going to be the storyline.
Yeah. Speaking of great matchups, looking forward to Saturday. I am so looking forward to the women's high jump. You're going to see athletes like Rachel Glenn from Arkansas. You're going to have Lamar Diston, who's an Aggie. And then you're also going to have Elena Kichenko from Georgia. These women have been going back and forth. I'm just thinking about indoor. We saw Rachel Glenn tie the collegiate record after Lamar Diston did it earlier that year. Rachel Glenn grabbed that title at the NCAA Indoor Championships. Then you fast forward to the spring, and all of a sudden you have the Georgia Bulldog grabbing out the SEC championship title. So these women have just been going back and forth, and I feel like it's going to be anybody's day that day. But Corey, is there anybody else that you're looking forward to seeing?
Well, long jump, I think Akeelia Smith of Texas, she wasn't really a factor in the indoor championship, finished 12th there. Here, she's really back in the picture. She won nationals last year outdoors. I think it's a question of, can she repeat, right? After, you know, a disappointing indoor run, she's back, she's ready to go. She's also in the triple jump. You know, can Alyssa Jones of Stanford or Claire Bryant of Florida compete with her on that stage and grab a title from her win? So we'll see.
Yeah. And then one more set of ladies to look forward to over these championships, especially on Thursday in the pole vault. We saw freshman Hannah Mull clear and win her first indoor NCAA championship title, and you guys, she's a freshman. However, right now she's tied for NCAA number 2 with Rutgers' Chloe Timberg, and they both cleared 4.6 meters. So, you know, going into these championships, it's an opportunity for these ladies to really strive for big heights. And of course, we know the Mole sisters. You have Amanda, who's going to be in this field as well, and she's 5th going into this as well, ranked 5th in the NCAA championship. So I think across the board, we're going to see amazing ladies strike out and perform. But now, let's switch sides and let's talk about the men. Ashley, who are you looking forward to seeing, and what can we expect?
Well, I think for me, I'm looking forward to seeing someone who I think is maybe looking for some redemption out here, and I think that's going to be Johnny Brackens, right? He won the USA Senior Indoor title in the long jump, but then he didn't win an NCAA indoor title in that event. But now, I mean, he's been on a roll this year, you know, when you're looking at outdoor season, and I think he's going to come to Hayward looking for something to prove almost. He wants to win that title. He's been close. He's done it on the senior stage again indoors, but he's been just, you know, a little bit outside of that at NCAAs. He's going to be doing that, and also the 110-meter hurdles. So I'm really curious to see what he does there.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting for him. And then, Corey, I think you have someone that you're looking forward to that's striving for big heights.
Nice, I like that. Romaine Beckford of Arkansas. He's a really unique story because just last year he's competing for South Florida. He's won the last 3 national championships across the indoor and outdoor campaigns in the high jump. So he's now with Arkansas, and he has a chance to win his 4th straight. You know, he cleared 7.525 last year at NCAA, or indoors at least, and his top mark this year is 7.375. But that is not the leading outdoor mark right now. That is Nebraska's Tyus Wilson, who has a 7.6 clearance, and he's probably one of the only guys that stands in Romaine's way. But I think that is a huge storyline in the high jump. Can he claim his 4th straight?
Yeah. And then, of course, we got to talk about our guy, Leo.
Yes, I think we gotta talk about this for a second, right? Because, you know, we saw what he did last year in Austin on his home turf, breaks the collegiate record in the men's decathlon, just put on a show. I mean, I think he PR'd in almost every event that day in the decathlon. Like, he just, you know, destroyed the competition. Now he returns. He won, you know, the multis indoors. Now, you know, he's said in the press conference today that we saw that he feels better than ever now coming into NCAAs, but he's not going to only be doing the decathlon. He's doing the individual discus. So that's something new for him. You know, he's going to compete in the decathlon, and then he'll be able to bounce back and compete in the discus there. And he kind of said that he was a little bit surprised that, you know, Coach Flo decided to put him in that, but hey, he's looking forward to it, I think, as well. Just, you know, a way to kind of cap things off.
Yeah. I think you and I were both surprised. I think, Corey, you were surprised. Were you surprised by that?
That he's in the discus?
Yeah.
No, he's one of the best discus throwers in the country.
Yeah.
And Texas needs the whole team to contribute to give them a chance.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I was quite surprised. I was like, oh, okay, Leo in the open discus, but, you know, I'm all here for him having that opportunity to put, you know, some points out for his team, but also really challenge himself as well. Before we move on, I feel like we have to talk about Tarek Robinson O'Hagan. He is a sophomore from Ole Miss, and I'm just super impressed with how he's just been performing throughout the course of his season. He won the NCAA indoor title in the shot put. He was 5th in the weight throw, and he also won SECs and the East regional titles in that shot put, and he also won SEC titles and finished as the runner-up in the hammer throw at the regional meet. So I can see him really just striving for big marks over this weekend. And right now, of course, he's leading in that shot put. That's where the heavy favoritism is going to be coming from. And he's ranked number 8th in the hammer. So can he score some points for the Rebels over the weekend? But let's move on now. We're going to talk about some sprints and our hurdle crew. So come with us to the next spot. All right, we are inside Hayward Field now, so let's talk about the sprints and also the hurdles. We're going to be able to see athletes like Grace Starks, Jasmine Jones, so many great things. But Ashley, like, what are you looking forward to the most when it comes to the really short sprints and also the hurdles as well?
Well, I think for me, I feel like you got to look at that 400, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Arkansas has a chance to not only win this event, but go 1, 2, 3, 4. They did that at the West Regional. You have Nikisha Price, you have Rosie Effiong, Caitlin Brown, and Amber Anning. Like, those ladies, I mean, if you can go 1, 2, 3, 4 in an event, that is just huge for the team point, you know, the team title race on the women's side. And so I'm curious to see if they can do that, if we could get those ladies under 50 seconds as well. We've seen them do that consistently throughout the season as well. So I think I'm going to have that event circled on my calendar.
Yes, I think the 400 meters is definitely going to bring a lot of excitement. As you mentioned, the Razorbacks have an opportunity to completely sweep this event. But Corey, for you, I know you're looking at that short sprint in that 100 meters for the girls' side. And I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, I think it's anyone's guess who's really going to come out with the victory in the one here with no JC Shears of Tennessee. We have opened the doors for a lot more women to compete, and Chukwuma from Texas Tech, Brianna Liston from LSU, Mackenzie Long from Ole Miss. We saw her in the press conference today. Kayla Jackson from Georgia. I think all of them reasonably could compete for a win in the final. They got to get there. Nothing's guaranteed until they get to the final. But Jackson's the one that stands out to me. I think she's a little underlooked at this point. She did go 10.95 win legal in the prelims at the prelims. So I think she's a little underlooked compared to the others like Lyston and Chukwuma. But that is the one I'm looking for. And as for Arkansas, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's like 28 points.
I mean, think about that.
That's 24.
I mean, that would just be crazy. I mean, like, how do you stop that? Like, if you score 28 points or whatever it is in an event, like, there's hardly any coming back from that. Because you think about it, too, Arkansas is a very complete team. I mean, they've got people in plenty of other events, fields. I mean, you name it. Like, if they can do that in the sprints, that will win them, I think, the team title for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about this press conference with the coaches. They were like, you just need 6% of all the points that are in there. About 50 to 60.
Theoretically.
Theoretically could win you this team title. So if we're talking 28 points already, you're pretty much nearly halfway there to doing that. And I want to go back to that 100 meters. I know you were just talking about Rosemary from Tech. She has really stood out to me the most this outdoor season. She's just done an extraordinary job and has run 10.88, win legal there. And I know you mentioned a list of other athletes to keep your eyes out for. Dejan DeFrand is someone I also want to mention. And we can't forget Jaden Mays. She's going to be competing here in front of her home crowd. So I don't honestly think that there is one clear favorite in this girls' 100 meters. I think we can actually see a couple of contenders that can really step it up to the plate. But I know, Ashley, for you, you're looking forward to Mackenzie Long in that 200 meters. Why is that so special for you?
I mean, shoot, it's June, and we still have Mackenzie Long as the world leader in the 200. She's the fastest woman in the world, 22:03 from earlier this year. And she's going to be trying to pulling off that double, that 100, that 200 double. But I wonder if anyone can just challenge her in that 200. If anyone can, maybe, Jamija Ford, we saw her win the indoor title, and she's been right up there with Long all season long. But I think for me, we had the chance to speak with Long at the press conference, and she was like, I'm just kind of taking each event one at a time. And she was like, being a world leader coming into something like this obviously comes with almost like some added pressure, you know what I mean? And like, it's a different feeling almost, but I think she's just locked in on the challenge ahead.
Yeah. All right, let's shift and talk about the men's. My biggest question is, can anybody take down Christopher Morales Williams? Is it a yes or no for you?
That's a no for me.
No? Okay, Ashley, for you.
Probably a no.
Probably no. I don't think anybody can. It's just his race, I think, to win. I think just after watching him compete this indoor season, putting out a world best in that indoor 400 meters, and just honestly, he was just talking about the press conference, just continuously setting personal bests, and he's starting to find his groove right now, which I think is the ultimate perfect timing of this. And looking forward to, Canadian trials. That's something that's on his mind. But right now, he is focused on the NCAA Outdoor Championship. So what else can we see from the sprint side for the men?
Well, I think we're all looking at the 200. I think that's kind of an open door where Tarsis Oregat of Alabama has the best time going in. But Shekna Traore of Penn State, 19.93 in the regional to win the East. That's his best all time. It's an Olympic standard. He only ran 25 last year in D3. He's D1 now. He's in his graduate season with Penn State. He was at Ramapo last year. This guy is an incredible story, and now he has a chance to win an NCAA title in the 200 meters. That is the biggest storyline for me. I mean, thoughts on can he win a title?
Yeah. This 200 meters, I think you just said you circled the 400 meters. I think this 200 meters on the men, just because, as Corey mentioned, we have two athletes that can really battle it out. I want to talk about Oregat real quick because he actually leads the NCAA right now. He's gone 1975 in this event. So
from SECs.
Yes, from SECs.
Yeah.
And so that's just literally a few weeks ago. So he's in tip-top shape right now. So if I had to pick, I'm going with the Alabama athlete. But Ashley, how about for you for that 200?
Well, I think just in general, even looking at the 2 and the 1, there's just so many, kind of like the women, there's a lot of players, I think, that could win a title. I think back to last year when Udoti Onwuzurike won that men's 200, and it was kind of I feel like a breakthrough moment, like he won his title. I'm curious to see who's going to be that athlete this year, and not just the 200, but I think the 100 as well. Like, I think potentially you have, a pair of Houston athletes that could make some noise. Sean Maswagani, he's been so close so many times, and he could be one to grab the title, but also Louis Hinchliff. I know Corey had a chance to speak with him. He has a great story. He's from Great Britain. Yeah. Former golfer as a kid turned sprinter, and now he ran 984 wind aided in the 100 to win that title there in the West. So I think in terms of teammates having some star power, then working off each other, that could be something that could be a factor too in both the 100 and the 200.
Yeah, Corey, do you have any other thoughts on that too?
Yeah, I don't think anyone really sees Louis as like the primary favorite here. It would be Sean, because he's been to 2 finals before, and this is what he's been searching for all along. So Louis is, I think, the undercard here. But, I mean, you look at other athletes. Favor Ash, Auburn, he was 8th in the final last year. Tamar McCallum, his first NCAA championship. It is wide open. So what will really be dependent is how they really line up and compete to get into the final. And do you give yourself a good chance getting a lane draw assignment to put yourself in that position? I like Louis. He's got a shot now. Second fastest British man all time, all conditions, right? Only one other athlete has run faster than him in Great Britain's history. So great story. 21 years old, just amazing.
So yeah, as you can see in here, we have some great storylines coming in from this men's side. So we're going to go to one last spot, and we're going to talk about the women in the men's distance races. It is only fitting that when we talk about distance running, we're here by the steeple.
Absolutely.
So I was afraid to actually sit on it because I didn't want to fall back into the water because it is filled. So to be safe, we have both feet on the ground. But anywho, I think everyone is looking forward to this 800-meter matchup. Can we talk about this real quick? Michaela Rose, Sanu Jalou, Roisin Willis, Juliet Whitaker. I'm even going to throw the freshman, Sophia Goriaron, into this mix. If there was one athlete I'm going to pick to grab this title, I'm going to go with Michaela Rose. And the reason being is, after what happened during the indoor season, I think she's just seeking out redemption right now. She's looking to go out, grab this title, and I feel like every single time that Michaela Rose steps onto the track, she always wants to put out her fastest performance. She's always been striving for that collegiate record that Athingmo has since 2021, I believe. So I feel like when this woman is on point, her vision is so clear that she is just striving for fast times, but she's also going to be looking to grab this title. But Corey, who are you predicting to win this 800?
I think this will come down to tactics. I mean, everyone's kind of on an equal playing ground, I think, in the 800, and it's really who manages that situation the best. Who doesn't get into an uncomfortable situation early, who doesn't get boxed in. I mean, that's going to affect your race if you distance yourself early on through that first lap and you find yourself at a gap, right? Juliet Whitaker, to me, has proven herself coming off that indoor win over Michaela Rose. And I think she is the type that has great tactics late in the race. If I'm picking anybody, I'm picking Stanford. I'm picking Juliet Whitaker to win this race.
Yeah. And speaking of Stanford, we know that Brian had a chance to go out to Stanford and get a workout and actually watch Roisin and Juliet put that work in. So they've been putting in that speed, and they look strong too. But Ashley, I'm going to hand off the mic to you. Who do you have for this 800?
I'm going to go against Corey here. I'm not going to doubt Michaela Rose.
Okay.
I know indoors it didn't turn out the way she wanted to. She gets outkicked at the end by Juliet. But I saw the way she won this race last year, and I mean, it was just pure, you could tell it was a breakthrough moment for her, right? And I think she's gonna be thinking back to that moment when she returns here and comes to Hayward looking for another outdoor title. And if you look at what she's done again, she's number 2 all time for collegiate. She's gone under 159 multiple times this season. Like, how she's going to do it, right? I mean, she's going to go out there and put pressure on the field to be like, hey, you better come and catch me, and you'll have to see if you can beat me. And I think she's going to do that, but I think she's going to win that title.
Okay. Now let's move on to some longer races. The 800 I know is kind of that middle distance, but we have Parker Valby, of course. That's the next headline, going for that double. What is the likelihood of her being able to do that, Ashley?
I'll say it's pretty likely, seeing what she's done since the cross-country season, right? She won the cross-country title. She wins the indoor 3K, 5K double. and now she's going to come out here attempting the 5K, 10K double. We saw her break the collegiate record in the 10K earlier this season, and I believe that was her first 10K ever, and so we know she can do that distance. Now it's just a matter of, can she bounce back in that 5K? However, I think if anyone can challenge, it'll be Hilda Olamomoy of Alabama. She's also been stellar this entire year.
I have to agree with you. Those are the two front ladies going on for this double too. I think they're both doubling,
Yes,
which
they
is
are.
awesome.
Yep.
So Alabama versus Florida. Corey, any last thoughts on that double?
I mean, Parker said in the press conference today, unless she wears the Florida uniform at the trials, this is her last one in a Florida kit here at NCAA's. And she's been an incredible story over the last 2 years. I mean, she won that 5K outdoors last year too, so she's on an incredible roll. And you don't always find out what she's thinking in these press conferences, but just take a look at how she competes on the track. You'll find all the answers you need there. She is the favorite in the 10K on Thursday, got a decent rest for a day, goes in the 5K on Saturday, and I think she is ready for a last big moment for Florida.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and switch gears and let's talk about the men. I think we have some spicy conversations here. We want to talk about the 1500. We have Nico Young is also in conversation, but Ashley, I want to start off with you. Where do you want to start with?
Let's start with the 1500.
All
I know we were
right.
talking about this earlier today and saying that there's just so many, I think, players that could contend for the title. You look at how Washington has dominated this event. 1500, then also in that indoor mile. Luke Hauser won that indoor mile title earlier this year, and Washington will have a strong contingent there in that 1500. But I'm curious to see how Colin Solomon does. He ran very well at Brian Clay earlier this year, and I think I'm just curious to see if he can grab his first individual outdoor title.
Yeah, I like the pick with Colin Solomon. Love that pick. And then we also have Nathan Green, who I feel like is going to be in this mix as well. Number 3 in the NCAA right now. Colin Solomon has the fastest time in the NCAA at the moment. But I'm also going to throw my guy in. We've talked about him on the podcast before. Pravesh Khan from Florida. I feel like he might be underrated. I know he's a freshman, but I'm not going to count this guy out. Once you see him bite that chain, It's all there. The speed is there. He makes the moves at the right time. I'm not counting him out. I believe he's ranked in the top 10 in the NCAA right now, but don't miss him out. But what are your thoughts, Corey, on the 15?
This race doesn't run fast
Right.
in championship settings. The last 2 years it's gone 3:42 and 3:45, right? So it plays, tactical the first couple of laps, and then it really winds up till the end. And that's not always an honest race for guys, but that's why Washington really succeeds here, because they have 3 guys in the mix willing to work for one another in a final. The last time it was actually fast, 2021, Cole Hawker won in 3:35. So I think somebody does need to make the final honest. And that's the only way they're going to break up Washington in this race. And I think if that does happen, I think we got Colin Solomon for the win here in NAU.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and talk longer doubles here, that 5K, 10K. Of course, we're going to see athletes like Nico Young, who won indoors as well. Ashley, are you a huge Nico Young fan, and can he come out with this dub here?
I think the question is, will anyone beat him in this 5K? We saw him. We've seen what he's done. We saw him do that 3K, 5K double indoors. Comes outdoors. Obviously, we saw him do crazy things in that 10K at Sound Runnings, the 10 earlier this year. However, he's not running the 10K, only running the 5K here. My question is, who's going to beat him? However, there are plenty of other guys in the field. You're going to have Graham Blanks from Harvard. He's going to be back here on the track. He missed the indoor championships, so glad he's healthy and running here again. You're going to have, Kai Robinson as well. He won that 5K, 10K double last year, opting to not try to defend the double, but only focusing on that 5K. So he's going to be putting all of his cards in that race, and I think those are guys that could challenge. And then can't forget about guys like Hopton Samuel too from New Mexico. I think there are just so many. We're in a state right now, especially I think on the men's side, where it's so loaded at the NCAA level. I mean, obviously you have people like Nico Young that have kind of been an outlier almost, but everyone else behind them is just so good as well.
Yeah, I like the pick. Kai Robinson in the mix. I also want to throw in Parker Wolf too. I think he's someone that could really do something special. I remember just watching him close during indoor season. I feel like if he just had a few more meters, a couple more inches of track left, he definitely could have been up on the shoulders during that indoor race. So I'm not going to count him out as well. But Corey, what are your thoughts too?
I mean, Graham Blanks is a great call out. I don't know if he's completely back to where he was, so it might be a tough ask of him to be, with Nico. Nico's kind of in a league of his own right now. I think he, kind of just managed his way into the championships at the regionals. But this guy, if he wants to pour it on, he'll pour it on. So I think it's Nico and then everybody else.
Yeah. I know we talked about the women's 800 meters. Of course, I have to talk about the men because my guy, Sam Whitmarsh, is in this field. He's already clocked one of the fastest times all time in NCAA history, and I feel like if he could just put a solid race together, which he's already done throughout the course of this outdoor season, he's a guy to watch. But you guys, we just talked about everything from the sprints to the distance to the field. We talked about it all. So let's go up top. Let's get on the red carpet and talk about the team finals. We just went through every single discipline. With all of that being said, it's going to add up to a team title. Let's start off with the women. Who are you predicting to win these championships?
Well, I know I already alluded to this earlier when we were talking about the sprints, but gosh, I just don't see anyone stopping Arkansas. You know, we saw what they did indoors, and I think that's going to carry over to outdoors as well. Again, if you have get so many points in the sprints and then in the jumps, and they just have a very well-rounded team. They also have some of the most entries of anyone in the field. Again, if anyone can challenge them, maybe someone like LSU that has, I believe, some of the most entries out of any team on the women's side coming into this. Perhaps Texas and Florida can get involved as well, but I think it's going to be Arkansas' title to lose.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Ashley. I just feel like the Razorbacks are just so stacked right now, and they look incredible from what we've seen through the indoor season and even through SECs. I know they've had some hiccups here and there, but I feel like this is a team that bounces back. This is a team that has the history. They know how to win team titles, and I have to agree with you. If there's any team that's going to challenge them, potentially Florida, Texas, maybe it will be in that mix. But Corey, do you disagree or do you agree with us?
I agree. I think NCAA is all about shock sometimes. It's about surprising. If things happen on paper as they're supposed to, Arkansas wins. But that's not how these things normally go. So 90% safe bet, Arkansas. But I do think Florida has a lot of opportunity with points on the board across the meet. So if they can really handle their business, Florida has a shot.
All right. Let's switch gears, and Corey, we'll start with you. On the men team title, we're on the red carpet for a reason. Bring it out. So who do you think is going to win this men's title?
Hey, I don't know. Honestly, it is anyone's guess. I mean, Texas obviously has a lot of events, athletes in events. They have points on the board. But honestly, maybe Texas? But I'm undecided. I don't know really what I want to go to.
I think for me, it's a coin flip between Arkansas and Texas. I feel like Arkansas men, just after seeing what they've done throughout the course of the season, they're looking pretty strong. I feel like, Ashley, you have something that
I think we haven't even mentioned Florida yet. I think we got to add them in here. They won this last year. Obviously, they're going to want to win another team title this year. I think I'd probably have to go with Texas, but who knows? I think there's no clear-cut favorite like there is on the women's side. Yeah. So it's really just going to depend on how things shake up, and it comes down to just hey, this person got 7th over 8th over someone else. It could come down to just those small points. Yeah.
Who was the coach talking about points on the table?
Arkansas.
Chris Bucknam.
Yeah.
Coaches the men. He was talking about you just need 50 so points out of 500 or so that's available. That's 60% or so of the total output. Arkansas is obviously looking at numbers, so they have to feel like they have a chance here. But it really, again, anything happens at championships sometimes. These moments, things shake up. We don't know what happens. Sometimes it's unexpected what happens on the results.
Yes. We will find out the final team standings Friday and Saturday. Friday for the women. Friday for the men.
Saturday for the men.
Yeah, I was right. The men start on Wednesday, so I had to think about it. So Friday we'll know the men's title. Saturday we'll know the women's. We're here inside Hayward Field. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys here on the track.